So teachers can keep up with the science of learning in numerous ways. And unfortunately, there are so many different ways out there that it can be a little bit overwhelming. But I would say that, first of all, just start with something simple. You will find on Gallery Teachers lots of links through this webinar to some really great books, one of which is called The Science of Learning. And that does condense down, I think it's roughly 70 different scientific pieces of research that link to the classroom. And just starting with those and trying to embed a few in your practice can be useful. Trying to keep up just with sort of webinars and training through sites like Gallery Teachers, looking at what Cambridge has to offer and other sites. People are constantly trying to share good practice and what has been studied. But fortunately, some of this science we now know is factual and it's not changing all the time. So you just need to try and get the basic ideas and see what you can apply to your teaching. I think that the simplest changes you can make is just by seeing the connection between one lesson and the next. Particularly if you're teaching, for example, if you were to teach a private lesson, the second you finish that lesson, just look at what were the key words that came up, the key information, and immediately make a little revision sheet that brings in that content straight away. And as I said, with a whole class, I do think that an idea like a starter mat is absolutely invaluable because you can build up a bank of them. If you're using course books regularly, you will see that also many of these course books do helpfully have like a review unit. And I notice teachers all the time skipping this because it looks a bit boring. Why not use the review as you're going along and not just wait till you get to the end of the unit? Cut and paste parts of it and put together your own sort of homemade starter mats. I would also suggest that you think very much about learner autonomy and think about how students using their homework can use simple techniques like look, cover, write, check, can use apps like Anki or like Quizlet to go over things. So not always giving students a gap fill or something that they can physically show you, just trusting your students saying, please, I would like you to allocate 10 minutes every day between our last lesson and our next lesson, just to reviewing some content rather than spending 2 hours on one thing. So little changes. Also, finally, the idea of just using your board work. I very frequently watch teachers, even myself included, where you produce some board work and you think it looks a bit scruffy, it looks a bit rubbish. There's still something to be got out of it. So think about, can you rub out a little bit and ask people if they remember what was there? Can you switch some things around? Can you exploit what you have already got? So not creating new things, not reinventing the wheel, but reusing, recycling and repurposing the material that you already have.